Alright, the recording has begun, but one sec, I'm gonna get full screen on here. Okay. Everyone ready for recording?
Hi.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the GFY Podcast. I'm co-host Alex Lewis.
I'm co-host Jackson Peters-Hopson.
I'm co-host Derek Fordyce.
And today we have way too much to talk about.
Yes.
I think before we can really get down to the details of anything, we just need to know what's happened in this fucking year. I mean, obviously, we've had episodes, in the beginning of the year. We've had, plenty of things to talk about. But now that we're in late August and looking back on everything, this 2020 fucking sucked.
And, everyone's saying that, and, everyone's heard that, but when you really, get down to the roots of it, more bad shit has happened this year.
Yeah.
In this span of, a couple months. And I get that there's always bad shit happening in the world, and there's always good shit happening in the world. It just... Maybe it's just the media actually covering everything that's going on in the world for once, because there's nothing else to cover. But there's definitely a lot more crazy shit going on in 2020,
Definitely.
Everywhere.
Now, I have a list of everything up to June 31st that I wrote down called 2020 in Retrospect. This was last edited on July 1st. I'm going to get that up. I'm also going to take off this mask because I'm inside, and you guys can probably barely hear me, so...
But, Derek, the madman, is probably going to keep his on the whole time.
I like my mask. My mask is really comfortable.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, let's just start at the beginning, why don't we? January 2nd. And I'm going to read the month, but then I'm just going to say the day. January 2nd. The Australian states of Victoria and New South Wales declare conditions of emergency as their massive bushfires grow in their scope of destruction. The 3rd. Iranian General Qasem Soleimani and Iraqi paramilitary leader Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis are killed by a U.S. drone strike at Baghdad International Airport. The 8th. Multiple U.S. personnel are injured as Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launches missiles at 2 U.S. military bases in Iraq. On its way from Tehran Imam Khomeini Airport, Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752 is shot down by Iranian forces. The 11th. China records its first death known to be caused by the coronavirus, then called 2019 nCoV. Prior to this, China informed the World Health Organization of a possible outbreak of this unknown virus. The 16th. The impeachment trial of President of the United States Donald J. Trump begins in Washington, D.C. The 20th. The first 2019 nCoV case in the U.S. arrives in Washington State. 17 people have died and 470 are known to be infected globally at this time. The 23rd. The city of Wuhan, Hubei, China is put under lockdown effective immediately. Over 11 million people are trapped within the city and the virus continues to spread. The 28th. U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu finalized Peace to Prosperity, a cooperative peace plan for the embattled area claimed by Israel and Palestine. No Palestinians were invited to the plan's negotiations. The 30th. The World Health Organization declares 2019 nCoV a public health emergency of international concern. The 31st. The United Kingdom completes a hasty Brexit, officially leaving the European Union. The economic future of the British Isles is left uncertain. February the 1st. Somalia declares a state of emergency as locust swarms engulf eastern Africa. The 4th. In the port of Yokohama, Japan, Princess Cruises ship Diamond Princess is quarantined after over 100 passengers test positive for COVID-19. The 5th. The United States Senate acquits Donald Trump of his articles of impeachment. The 8th. A gunman leaves 29 dead in Nakhon Ratchasima, Thailand. The 11th. The World Health Organization renames 2019 nCoV COVID-19 officially. The world becomes increasingly aware of the coronavirus as it rapidly spreads from country to country. The 19th. NASDAQ and the S&P 500 report record highs on the stock market. Business is booming. The 23rd. South Korea enters a state of high alert by order of President Moon Jae-in. The 24th. Massive economic contractions begin on stock exchanges worldwide, reaching that of the 2008 Great Recession. This is called the Great Shutdown due to coronavirus fear. The 29th. The U.S. signs a truce with the Taliban, a terrorist organization based in Qatar, hoping to pave a path towards peace in the war-torn region. Luxembourg makes all of its public transportation free, becoming the first nation in the world to do so. March the 1st. The last crew members disembark from the cruise ship Diamond Princess. The 5th. The Hague allows for the Afghanistan war crimes inquiry to begin, covering various war crimes allegations against the U.S. military, Afghan, and Taliban forces during the war in Afghanistan. The U.S. is outraged. The 8th. Mass quarantine for COVID-19 begins in Italy for a quarter of its population. The 9th. The world continues to reel from the global stock market crash. These are mostly caused due to COVID-19. Oil prices plummet. The 10th. Italy's quarantine extends to the rest of the country, halting most flights and border crossings. Russian legislation opens the door for Vladimir Putin to stay in office as president until 2036. The 11th. The WHO declares COVID-19 a pandemic. The virus is now known to be in 100 countries and spreading fast. Knowledge of the possibility of being asymptomatic for up to 2 weeks causes mass concern for citizens and governments alike. The 12th. Global stock markets continue to drop into free fall as COVID-19 shuts down more of the world, and the U.S. imposes a travel ban for its citizens to most of Europe. The 13th. After almost 2 months of denying its lethality, President Donald Trump declares a state of national emergency for the United States. $50 billion in federal aid is requisitioned. The 14th. Spain enters total lockdown due to COVID-19. The 18th. President Donald Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau agree to close the U.S.-Canada border to all crossings. The 22nd. Iran refuses coronavirus help from the U.S., declaring that the U.S. possibly created the virus. The 23rd. United Nations Security General Antonio Guterres calls for a global ceasefire in an effort to refocus the world on the coronavirus pandemic. South Africa enters lockdown. The 24th. India and the United Kingdom go into lockdown due to COVID-19. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics are Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
The 2020 Tokyo Olympics are postponed to July 2021. The 26th. Global coronavirus cases exceed 500,000 as the U.S. surpasses China in its number of cases. The 27th. The U.S. requisitions another $2.2 trillion in federal stimulus. The 29th. Parts of Nigeria enter lockdown. The 30th. Moscow, Russia enters lockdown. The 31st. The Australian bushfire season comes to its official close with over 5.5 million hectares scorched, 33 people killed, and half a billion animals gone. This was the most devastating bushfire season on record for the reeling country. April the 2nd. COVID-19 cases exceed one... No! Derek! April the 2nd, COVID-19 cases exceed 1 million. The 7th, Japan enters a state of emergency and requisitions 108 trillion yen in stimulus. The 8th, Wuhan, Hubei, China relinquishes its lockdown after 76 days. In this time, it faded from being the epicenter of the virus and had succeeded in quarantining thousands of people. On the same day, Senator Bernie Sanders drops out of the U.S. presidential race, leaving former Vice President Joe Biden as the sole nominee to run in November 2020 against Donald Trump. The 11th. After President Bolsonaro previously downplayed its effect, Brazil exceeds 20,000 COVID-19 cases. The 14th. Lockdowns in Europe begin their long reopening phase as new cases begin to stagnate. President Donald Trump halts all further funding to the World Health Organization, apparently dismayed by its handling of the coronavirus, prompting international criticism. The 18th. Canada mourns as it suffers its largest mass shooting with a spree across Nova Scotia, leaving 18 dead. The 20th. Some U.S. states begin lifting coronavirus restrictions after weeks of protest. MSC Magnifica, the last cruise ship still sailing during the coronavirus after being closed off from many ports along its intended itinerary, docks in Marseille, France. The ship had originally departed from Genoa, Italy, on the 5th of January. The 23rd. President Donald Trump comments that injecting disinfectant into the body may help cure coronavirus. This is met with extreme criticism, and disinfectant companies warn against the potentially lethal action. The 27th. COVID-19 cases exceed 3 million, with 1 million in the U.S. alone. The 28th. The U.S. Department of Defense declassifies 3 videos showing UFOs spotted by U.S. pilots. While more than likely not aliens, this sparks debate and curiosity across the country as to what else the DoD has still classified, or why they chose then to declassify the videos. Argentina halts all flights due to COVID-19. The 29th. The U.S. GDP falls in the worst drop since the Great Depression. May the 1st. In the aftermath of the Nova Scotia rampage, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announces 1,500 types of assault weapons will be banned in Canada. Likewise, protesters armed with assault weapons gather in Michigan as their governor reinstates the state's coronavirus lockdown. The 3rd. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, in agreement with President Trump's recent statements, blames China solely for the spread of the coronavirus. The 4th. Multiple world leaders pledge money towards continued work on a cure for COVID-19, while the U.S. and Russia stand aside. The 5th. São Luís Maranhão, Brazil enters lockdown. I apologize for any of the Portuguese or Spanish speakers that may watch this. I just butchered that name. The 6th. The Irish repay the Native American Navajo and Hopi nations for their aid during the Irish potato famine in the 1840s, hoping to help the native nations suffering from COVID-19. The 7th. 20% of the U.S. workforce is now claiming unemployment. The 10th. COVID-19 cases exceed 4 million. The 13th. As Lesotho records its first case, the entire continent of Africa has now confirmed COVID-19 cases. The 16th. Cruise ship Diamond Princess finally departs from Yokohama, Japan after months of being quarantined. From the over 700 cases aboard the ship, 14 died from COVID-19. The 22nd. Pakistan International Airlines Flight 8303 crashes in Karachi, Pakistan, killing 97. The 23rd. New Zealand discharges its final coronavirus patient from the hospital. The country begins to reopen. The 25th. George Floyd, an African-American man, is killed by police in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The 23rd. Costa Rica legalizes same-sex marriage. The first protest begins in Minneapolis against Floyd's brutal and needless death. This turns into a riot by nightfall. Minneapolis burns with over 170 fires lit in the first night. The 27th. Protests begin in major cities like Los Angeles, Portland, and Memphis. Police precincts across the country are stormed and or set ablaze. Provocations by President Trump on Twitter further anger protesters, and the social media fact-checks and censors several of his messages. Protesters rage against the gates of the White House. COVID-19 deaths in the U.S. exceed 100,000. The 28th. Chinese parliament votes to intervene in Hong Kong after over a year of violent protests against the oppressive state. The U.S. begins preparations to halt special treatment of Hong Kong after decades of partnership with the autonomous state. Iran considers new legislation for protecting women after the, quote, honor killing of a 14-year-old girl. The 30th. Further protests in Seattle begin as others continue to rage. Smaller protests and riots begin in towns across the United States. Hacktivist Anonymous returns with their legion with promises to expose police and government secrets. The 31st. Riots muddied by white supremacists and opportunists continue to engulf the U.S. President Donald Trump, his family, and his staff enter the White House bunker. The only other time the bunker was used was in the midst and aftermath of the 11th of September 2001 attacks. And that's only up to the end of May. It is now the end of August.
And there's a lot more.
Oh, there's a lot more. One sec, let me pull up the Wikipedia current events month by month thing.
Oh yeah, just so you know, this Zoom meeting is one of those 40-minute things because there's 3 people.
I thought it was
Just,
4 people where it goes to 40 minutes.
I'm looking at the bar above my Zoom meeting, and it says Zoom meeting 40 minutes.
Okay.
So to assume that we need to restart the Zoom call in 40 minutes.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Anyway, disclaimer: whatever jokes we make in this video is just a coping mechanism. We all know that the
Direct
world
that
is
at
pretty
Derek.
yeah, specifically to Derek, but like, the world is fucked up right now. Silence is violence. It's not enough to be not racist. You got to be anti-racist. All that stuff. Wear a mask.
Or actually, okay. Let's look at specifically today just to see how actually fucked you can be in one singular day of 2020. So,
What day is it? August.
today is the 29th of August 2020, a Saturday. And this is by the Wikipedia organization. Health and environment, the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic in Asia. Indonesia reports 3,308 new cases in the last 24 hours. The city of Bogor, wait, is it a city? I don't know. Imposes a nightly curfew and community social restrictions aimed for the residents to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. Myanmar's foreign ministry announces the extension of temporary entry restrictions to all visitors, including the suspension of all visas until September 30th. Samoa extends the state of emergency until September 27th. The Prime Minister says he fears the practice of congregating in large numbers would likely see the virus entering the COVID-19 free country. International relations. Israel United Arab Emirates peace agreement. The leader of the United Arab Emirates, I'm not even going to try his name, issues a decree abolishing a law that mandated an economic boycott on Israel, following the approval of the historic peace deal between the two countries. On the Israeli side, the first El Al commercial flight from Israel to the UAE is expected on Monday. Azerbaijan-Russia relations. A senior advisor to Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev accuses Russia of arming Armenia since the start of the recent border clashes. Czech Republic-Taiwan relations, China-Czech Republic relations, and the One China policy. Czech Senate President, I'm not going to try that, travels to Taiwan on an official visit to promote business links between the two countries, despite the Czech Republic maintaining unofficial relations with Taiwan as it recognizes the One China policy of the People's Republic of China, to which the European country maintains official relations with. The president's predecessor, Jaroslav Kubera, had planned the trip but died in January 2020. In response to the visit, the PRC's foreign ministry warned the Czech government of possible consequences for Czech companies with operations in mainland China. Law and crime. Protests over responses to the COVID-19 pandemic and the COVID-19 pandemic in Germany. Police in Berlin disperse around 18,000 anti-lockdown protesters massed at the Brandenburg Gate, despite a ruling from the city's administrative court the previous day that overturned the government's ban on public demonstrations. Police claim most of the protesters failed to observe the minimum social distancing measures implemented in the city. Why do you have a picture of Delino and a slug? Sweden bans far-right Danish leader Rasmus Paludan from entering the country for 2 years in response to last night's unrest in the city of Malmö, in which hundreds of Muslim youths clashed with police following the burning of a Quran. Malmö police say his behavior posed a threat to the fundamental interests of society. Politics. Fuck.
Oh my Christ.
This is why we don't use Zoom to record a podcast.
Are you still recording?
Yeah, I'm still recording.
Hold on a second.
YouTube Premium removes.
God damn it. I'm gonna kill this. And we are back.
Yeah, we are. I like how we didn't even get through the 2020 in retrospect before the meeting ended. 40 minutes,
Yep.
Chief.
Yep. Yeah, we're not done yet.
Boy.
Haven't gotten on to June yet, have you?
No, this is I'm still reading from the 29th of August.
Oh! Well,
I'm still reading that.
here's a boat.
Thank you. Politics and elections. MV Wakashio oil spill. Protests erupt in Port Louis, Mauritius over the government's handling of the disaster after dozens of dolphins are found dead on the beaches. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Pravin Jugnauth blames bad weather for the slow response to the disaster as task teams from France and the United Nations arrive. The 2020 Liberal Democratic Party in Japan leadership election. The Liberal Democratic Party in Japan is set to pick the next Prime Minister around September 15th after the sudden resignation of current Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Former Defense Minister Shigeru Ishiba and former Foreign Minister Fumio Kishida announced they intend to run, but Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga and Defense Minister Taro Kono are considered the potential candidates. Environment Minister Shinjiro Koizumi, fuck me, dude, is also a candidate but deemed too young by party veterans. Sports. The Indonesian Youth and Sports Ministry and the National Sports Committee of Indonesia officially recognize esports as a national sport following a week-long virtual conference held by the latter.
Wow.
Can we get a dub, boys? Pogs in chat. Pogs in chat. So that's all of the 29th. That was all.
One day.
That's
that was
today.
That was today.
One day.
That was like 20
One
minutes.
day.
Today.
One.
Yep.
Uno.
That was the day of recording now.
Zoom meeting. 40 minutes.
Zoom meeting. 40 minutes.
Zoom meeting. Yep.
Yep. But that's
So
just...
the reason we're doing this on Zoom today is for Zoom. For the meeting, because everyone has to fucking use it.
As soon as we get back to school, doesn't matter if we're going to, Shorewood High School or Shoreline Community College for Running Start, we're still going to be using this piece of shit. This interface right here that you're seeing right now is what every American student is seeing exactly at this moment, except for the ones that are going into physical school for some reason.
Now, you think it's a good idea? I don't think it's a good idea.
What is requiring to reopen that? Like to reopen their schools?
Sorry?
They're making the schools figure out some way to reopen.
Oh, yeah. Which is not working because I'm forgetting the the actual name of the school, but they opened, and then the next day they closed because like 12 people had COVID. And it's like, I mean, fucking duh, guys. That's just, you kind of walked into that one.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bruh.
The big bro moment.
And oh yeah, some of the students that were like, sending out photos of like, packed hallways with only like 3 people wearing masks, suspended. Because the official reason was because they were sharing students' faces without like permission, but really,
it's a little more than that.
You know how many times I've taken pictures of our hallways and not gotten in trouble? Like, come on.
Yeah.
We all know
same.
the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, this country's gone down the shitter.
Yeah.
Really?
Great country. Great country.
Like
Absolutely
the rest of the world,
wonderful. Yeah.
We're still in the middle of a pandemic, but at least they understand the scope of it, and like, they understand the consequences if they don't take care of it. United States. I mean, look behind Jax. Look behind Jax. His wonderful tagline there. Yes.
Yes. America is fucked.
Yeah. Dub.
Definitely.
See, the thing that I find interesting about like this specific episode is like when we first started the GFY podcast, we were like, man, we have so much stuff to talk about because of the school shooting threat at Shorewood, and we did have a lot to talk about. We filled out an entire episode in that one. Here, we have thousands of individual events since January, and we just can't afford to go into detail for any of them because there are A, so many, B, we've forgotten so many because there have been so many, and C, we just don't know the details for all of them. And it's like, we
in summary,
have so
there's too
much stuff that we need to talk about, but just can't because of like time constrictions, also because we have 40-minute Zoom meeting times, and that just,
Someone pull up a COVID-19. I've been trying to share my screen this whole time, but I can't. Pull up a map
I have
with, like,
participant screen sharing turned on, but like all of this stuff has been going on, and I want to talk about all of it, but I'm not sure that we can do justice to most of the things that have happened.
Alex, can you make sure you have it on?
I just did.
It is on.
I just did on the thing, and Derek was able to send photos earlier. Remember?
Well, no, that's also because of my camera.
You still have it set to your camera? Okay.
Yeah.
My man
I
has
can just,
screen share tied to his camera. The potential...
It's not necessarily screen share per se.
Dude, the potential for when classes start is glorious.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at this. So I have my virtual input in right now, okay? And then I'm going to go to my computer, and then I'm going to, boom, there's a seaplane.
Good.
You want the Blue Angels? Like, boom, here's the Blue Angels.
You just send a screenshot of our F11, F1Fs.
You want me to blow up? Boom, there we go. It's all bad.
You need to like be the. Have you watched Joe Rogan's podcast? Have you ever? Yeah.
Press J for Joe Rogan.
Have you seen episodes of Joe Rogan's podcast?
I have not. No.
Okay. Well, there's a guy named Jamie who pulls up all his like the photos and videos that they're talking about with his guest. You're gonna be the Jamie.
Well, I don't necessarily. Okay, I can pull up photos, but I can't pull up videos.
That's fine.
Do you have a picture of a can of beans?
Yes, you better. But like, Derek, you should pull up photos of whatever we're talking about.
Yeah. So the only thing is that I actually have to like download everything manually if we're going to do this.
Because he has to like individually pull up the photos.
Yeah.
Never mind. You can't look them up on Google?
Well, okay, I have to look them up on Google, then I have to download them, then I have to import them into my virtual input.
Okay, never mind.
This is why we buy
if you're going to preemptively do it, then yeah, I can do that. Pretty easy. I can pull up memes, and I can even pull up the world burning as well.
Okay,
if we really need to.
Well, something I wanted to talk about is like the fact that, let's talk about sports for a second. 'Cause
Sports.
This is
That's
because
a
this is
hell
one
of a transition.
okay, but no. Here's the thing. This is one of the rare times in the only two times where sports become the center of the world's attention and kind of its like escape is one during the World Cup and apparently during a global pandemic.
Because there's nothing else to do.
Go Flyers. Go Philly Flyers. Completely is actually doing really, really well. In
Go
the
buy
Stanley Cup.
Seattle Kraken merch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Support
But-
our return to the NHL.
What I want to bring.
By the way, I'm still pissed about the sound or the what
The Sonics.
the Sonics leaving,
Yeah.
being stolen from us.
That was before you were born.
I don't care. I'm
What
still
do you mean
pissed
you're
about
still
that. I'm
pissed?
still pissed about that.
He's been pissed since he was born.
I'm pissed since I've been born. Yes.
He's just been pissed off. That's why he's in such a bad
Yep.
mood.
Yep.
But sports is like, in my opinion, sports is an escape, and it's becoming very political now. Not that I don't think they should be broadcasting messages like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, but I feel like by the end of this year, sports is going to be so intertwined with politics that there's not going to be a difference. Like, Tyron Woodley versus Colby Covington is a welterweight fight that's coming up. That is a Black Lives Matter activist and a hardline conservative who wears a MAGA hat to every press conference.
That's gonna be
They
interesting.
only match them up. They only match them up because of what's going on in the world right now.
Really? Seriously? That's dumb.
Politics is going to become intertwined with sports. Like, by the end of the year, there's going to be no difference, I feel.
I mean, even then, there's also politics with sports as well.
Yeah,
I
was
mean,
gonna say,
for
sports politics exists.
yeah, like for example, like they changed baseball, the ending of baseball for a long, like completely, so that the baseball games would be even shorter. There's like putting a man on like ninth or something, or at the bottom of the ninth, or when you go to extra innings, there's always going to be a man on second now.
Huh.
So like the game would go by faster, I think.
Whack. They should just
Yeah,
take the
it's
Japanese
really weird.
rules.
Japanese baseball is better, even though it's still boring.
Well, they actually have
This-
tiebreakers. So you don't go to like 14 innings.
Well,
yeah, and then you can
I-
also have this.
but anyway, because we're Seattleites, I feel like we kind of have to talk about the only sports team in Seattle that is currently active that no one cares about for some reason. The Sounders just smashed Portland
Good.
3-0.
Yeah, I saw
The
that.
other-
I saw that.
Smashed, and no one was talking about it. I remember that. Yeah. But essentially, like, the Sounders are doing. I mean, okay, we got kicked out of the MLS's back tournament, or Copa Corona, like, by LA. We lost 4-1 to
Ow.
LAFC. But we came back. We fucked up Portland. We were gonna play against the Galaxy on Wednesday, but they didn't do the game for reasons we'll get to. And now we have a game tomorrow, or Sunday, August 30th, against, well, LAFC again, which is a hard game because we just lost to them 4-1, and then we beat it. Our schedule is extremely inconsistent. The next 8 games are the only things that are planned in MLS, because they're just like, we know shit's gonna go down, so we're only gonna plan like 8 games ahead.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
then
speaking of an inconsistent schedule, just look at the GFY podcast.
Yep, exactly.
Haven't had an episode since, March? I think? I don't
Yeah,
remember. I haven't checked. It was something.
But but one thing I do want to talk about, the UFC has been leading the charge in like actually having a bubble.
Recording.
What?
Hi, Mom.
What?
Bye bye.
But I'm actually watching the UFC right now. But
Wait,
the
wait,
UFC
wait. Show
is
us your setup. Show us your setup. Wait, hold up.
oh yeah, my first fucking setup.
Oh, yeah. That's
But-
amazing.
But the UFC has like totally led the charge when it comes to having a bubble. What they did in Abu Dhabi, and they're doing in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure the UFC's had like the least amount of positive tests. I'm pretty sure. If that's wrong, then like, I'm sorry, I'm getting my facts wrong. But I think the UFC has had the least amount of positive tests because they're testing fighters like 4 times a day.
Which is extremely good for obvious reasons.
Wow, actually taking precautions in your sporting events? Whoa.
Yeah, that's actually really helpful.
This is what's really funny. Because of coronavirus, MMA fighters have a lower, or a higher safety rating as citizens in the U.S. than normal citizens because they're all in bubbles if they're fighting.
Good.
And citizens. Isn't that crazy?
Sounds about
Cage
right.
fighters,
so cool.
Cage fighters, on average, it is safer to be a cage fighter than a normal citizen right now. I want you to get that through your head. Think about that.
Okay, unrelated. I sent Ms. Knox, the mentor for the Shorewood Macaw, an email like last month asking if she could send me details because I'm the new chief editor for it, and I was like, hey, can you reply to this pretty quickly so that I can get stuff sorted before the beginning of the year? She replied today, on the 29th of August.
We start school on the 3rd.
No, we
Wednesday.
start school on the 2nd.
Start school on the 3rd?
No,
I start on the 20th.
We start on the 2nd, don't we?
That's even worse. I start on the 23rd, and I only have 1 class this semester.
Nice one.
We start on the 2nd. We start on the 2nd.
Yeah.
R.I.P. anyone who's going to Shorewood. Right?
Oh, fun
Yeah.
fact. Okay, and this applies. I don't know if like the word got out about this, so I'm just gonna say it again. But for the people that aren't in Running Start and are just staying at Shorewood for their classes this year, be sure that you know what classes you signed up for this year, because if you don't, or if you got stuck in a class you don't like, or if you want to change your choice because, I don't know, you don't want to take it anymore, if you want to drop that AP class you signed up for because you said fuck it, but it's not actually a good idea, you got to change it now before the school year starts, because once the school year starts, once you get your official schedule and like classes begin, they're not allowing changes this year.
Oh, and by the way, you get your official schedule
The day
before.
before.
Yeah.
It's like
So-
normal Shorewood. It's like the kids who didn't look on their Skyward.
But like
Just got
Jax,
their-
like at least on the first like week of school, you're able to change your schedule like completely. You're able to like dump classes and add on classes and do stuff. This, as soon as it's solidified, it's done. That's your classes for this year.
Yep.
Disclaimer for anyone who doesn't know, I don't go to Shorewood.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is really nice. The Zoom classes over quarantine, I mean, I am worried that I'm not going to get as adapted to campus.
Yeah, because you're
Like,
just
when
not on campus.
Yep.
But-
Virtual campus.
But
Not even.
that was probably the best educational experience I've ever had, and it was all done from my desk. So that's how I know I like SEC a lot more than Shorewood. And
Well,
I
you have
literally
to join a Roblox world just to go to college.
I yeeted out of Shorewood like literally a week before the first reported case was in the U.S.
Seems
like-
legit.
Yeah.
It was
Mind
like,
you, that was in Everett. How far is Shorewood from Everett again?
Not that far.
Not that far.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were all at school? Like while they're
Like, okay, I remember it completely. Like first,
He
like
stayed
I got
home.
back.
This
I know.
man
I
stayed
didn't stay home. I didn't stay home. But what happened was, well, wait, are we talking about the first case that like went to Shorewood, or
all
the
I
one that?
remember, because it's all a blur, is that there were confirmed cases, like more than 10 in Seattle and like greater Seattle area, and all of us were still packed into Shorewood.
Yeah.
Okay. So I remember when I was like, I was complaining about, or I actually was in Miss Knox's class at the time, like the day before, and I remember, I remember Miss Knox talking about, hey, did you hear about how the first person has tested positive for coronavirus in the United States? And then I chip in, saying like, yeah, he's in Everett and it's not gonna go well. I wouldn't be surprised if the school shuts down. I think Miss Knox like doubted something about that. Yeah, and then
A lot of
something
people did.
about
Whenever you brought up the school
we
shutting
were
down,
all doubting it. I was completely freaking out.
But whenever you brought up like like school shutting down, there was like 50% of people were just like, nah, it's not gonna happen. We're gonna take precautions for this and it's gonna go fine. That would have been in the world where we actually took precautions early, and
which we don't.
Succeeded in beating out the virus early on, which we didn't. We denied the virus, and then it spread, and then we still denied the virus, and it spread.
Yep.
Rinse and repeat until you get to now.
As much as I hate to say it because she's a witch, this would have been a little less bad if Hillary were in office. Just saying. Hillary would have handled a global pandemic infinitely more maturely than Donald Trump.
I think the
handle it like a
major
mom.
difference, no matter
record, I hate Hillary Clinton. Don't go call it.
Well, no, because the thing is that like even if she completely handled it wrong and took the like complete wrong steps, she at least would have acknowledged that it was a virus.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she at least wouldn't have fired the pandemic or what Trump got rid of like his pandemic experts or something.
Yeah,
like a
he
month
got
ago.
rid of a bunch of
Yeah, everyone
his
except
health
Dr. Fauci.
people.
And even then, like, he doesn't, like, the coronavirus task force was, first of all, created extremely late. And second of all, it only existed for, like, 3 weeks or something like that, where they were, like, meeting daily with the press, okay, for 3 weeks. Then it just, like, completely went dead silent.
Yep.
It was not good. And Fauci was even suffering, too.
People are relying more on the CDC and Instagram posts than the president for, like, coronavirus information.
And they're more accurate.
Yeah, they're
than the
much more
president, too.
accurate.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even rely on the CDC at this point. I rely on like
you can't
international
really just trust
sources.
the CDC that much. Oh god.
Well, honestly, the UK is doing a better job at containing the virus in the US than the US is.
Yeah.
Giving us more information than our president is.
Boris Johnson
Wow.
be like.
Boris
Johnson
really
is handling this so much better than Trump did.
Which is
Yeah.
saying
Boris
something.
Johnson is a god compared to
And they've
Donald
got the
Trump.
same hairstyle. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's weird.
'Cause the thing is, in the UK, things are opening back up and safely.
Which is good.
They didn't just flatten the curve; they basically eliminated it.
So annoying.
With if they can do that with Boris Johnson as their prime minister, and
Now-
we can't do shit.
Now, that said, a country that normally would be doing pretty well, and for the most part has been, but just doesn't, is Germany. As I said on the 29th of August, like, readout for that, they had another protest. There's been massive anti-lockdown protests, and it's like,
It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense.
Like, the thing is that, not to, like, toot our own horn, but, like, not even the U.S. has had those. Like, we've had protests against lockdown, but we haven't had 18,000 people storm a major, like, city thing and say, we don't want to be in lockdown. We've had people that were at, we had that, like, gathering at the state capitol, but that was still only, like, 3,000-ish people.
And
I mean, that's a lot of people,
Even
but
then,
still.
that still wasn't really for coronavirus either, honestly.
Yeah,
that was for, like...
That was about Inslee, that was about the Black Lives Matter stuff, that was about coronavirus. It was just like a general far-right protest.
It was like it was a
Derek,
counter.
why did you call me on Discord?
Oh, I was going to tell you that everything blew up, and I was going to congratulate you and pat you on the back that everything went to shit.
What? We're still in this Zoom call. Anyway. I'm just gonna point back to the banner.
Yeah,
Like, we can
America
see
is
all
fucked.
of our countries. But like, no, if you look at Europe, like in Eastern Europe, there are already games like football matches, soccer games, with like half capacity. And I'm
Quite
so
amazing.
the thing. Okay, in MLS games, Orlando and Salt Lake City are both allowing fans into their stadium. Granted, like 100, but still. Like,
Yeah, but
Orlando
also at the
and-
same time, Chief, that's Florida.
But Salt Lake City,
Yeah,
like
boy.
Mormon.
Yeah, but also at the same time, that's Utah.
Utah.
I mean, we're talking
Yeah.
about Utah and Florida here.
Utah's a lot bigger than people think it is, because it's like it includes Wyoming. Wyoming doesn't exist.
Right.
Yeah,
'cause
why?
Ryan doesn't-
Yeah,
yep,
no, that's just northern Utah.
Yep,
North
that's
Utah.
definitely it.
What? Wait, why was there a
What?
Huh?
Minecraft villager noise?
Oh God.
No reason.
Oh yeah. This
Don't
this
look at me
fucking
like
year
that.
has been so crazy that a parallel universe was fucking confirmed, and no one talked about it, or
Uh-huh.
something like that.
What?
Something came up like alien, like the UFO sightings that everyone was going on about. The U.S. said like, no, these are real. We don't know what these are. Oh my
Uh
God.
huh. Okay, keep going.
Well, because the thing is that the UFO sightings doesn't necessarily mean it's aliens. I mean, it still just means unidentified flying object.
Unidentified flying object. That's what I mean when I say UFO.
Yeah.
I think they changed it to unidentified aerial phenomena just so that they don't have to say UFO.
WAP.
That's dumb because it's
But-
literally.
But the thing is, we have made visual contact with craft that defy the logics of physics, and that's not like the biggest deal in the world right now.
Oh, that's just a normal
Yeah.
Tuesday in Area 51.
Yeah. Didn't they released that on like the 15th, if I remember?
That's enough
And-
fun and games for a Tuesday.
Oh my goodness. And then it really doesn't make sense.
Battlefield 1.
I don't even know
references
how
in
we get a
2020.
hold of like the laws of physics and why that would
Yeah.
exist. Yeah, because they
Words?
released it. They had like the carrier videos
Mhm.
where a bunch of naval
One of
aircraft
those
were like
videos
trying to identify
from
what the hell it was.
2007. Did you know one of those videos is from 07?
Was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, one of the I can't remember which one, but one of them is off the coast of California from 07. Go watch if you follow Lemino on YouTube, like he made a good mini doc about it.
Everyone
like
say
UFO,
hello to
right?
Wellesley.
Hi Wellesley. Wait, can you play the Roblox death sound, Derek? I feel like that's very representative.
I don't have that.
Oh.
Why did you just have
I
an
have this.
oof queued up, though?
I have this.
What? Oh, it's a creeper drone.
I also have. I've got this one.
Hear that play outside your door?
We're being raided.
You know, I saw a really accurate picture, like 2020 in a picture, is like this guy trying to get into his bed, and he just keeps popping out of his bed, and it says, "You may not rest now. There is too much shit going on." It's like you may not rest now. There are monsters nearby, except it's
Yeah.
just 2020 version. There's too much shit going on.
It's a real terrible moment. I hate it.
This
I hate it so
entire
much.
year has just been a bro moment.
Mhm.
The fact
Like,
that
can we
we're
just
living,
like hit cut, delete that footage, and then just go to 21?
literally,
Yeah,
this is the single biggest, like, when you take in terms of numbers of people that showed up, this is the single biggest political movement the world has ever seen. And it's like
yeah,
it's not even frontline news anymore that there are mass protests.
Well, also at the
every-
same time, just our media has not helped any of the stuff that's happened in 2020. Our sensationalist, short attention span media has just been terrible for it. I mean, it almost became a trend to be protesting, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we just have a bunch of cloudivists hopping on the whole bandwagon of like, oh, Black Lives Matter, without actually believing in it, and it's like,
Have you seen the
Get the
tweet
fuck
that's
outta
like
here.
yeah.
Have you seen the tweet that's like the youth to Republicans, hey, we want health care. The Republicans' response is no. And then the youth
Oh,
Democrats.
yeah,
Hey,
the
we-
Democrats. It's
hey,
no with a heart.
No, hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag Pride.
Yeah,
Like-
And to be honest, like to establishment Democrats, that's how it is. It's like, yo.
2020 has shown me why conservatives hate left media. Because now I hate left media too. I can barely watch MSNBC and
Well,
CNN.
because that's the thing, is that, like, ideals-wise, I still believe generally in the left. But
Yeah, of
the
course.
mainstream left is just, it's so bad.
You want to know something funny? The mainstream left is probably the second biggest reason why Bernie lost.
Or actually, also at the same time, I think
Seriously.
I think the reason why the mainstream left is so bad at this point is simply because most of the media based around it is still run by the establishment. I mean, we're talking about, like, old white people here.
I mean, I know a bunch of people aren't going to participate, so I'm not going to say, like, comment down below if this has happened. But I'm sure you've gotten, like, recommendations on YouTube for your news from Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and
Yeah.
Bloomberg Politics.
Uh-huh.
Most trusted
I've
I've
also
also
name
gotten a
in
bunch
news.
of I've gotten a ton of YouTube recommendations from, like, the Lincoln Project, and I'm like, I mean, fine, but why?
Yeah.
Oh, I also I just got a YouTube ad for like a bunch of reporters going to the Republican National Convention but first of all, no one was wearing masks. Okay, so
Oh,
no
yeah,
social
no.
distancing whatsoever. But
With
neither
3,000
was
people.
yeah,
with
yeah, but again, neither was the reporters. And I think there was also a Comedy Central logo in the bottom left, but it looked to be like CNN or MSNBC reporters, and they were asking when do you think America was great? And they were like answering like when or the Republicans were
I saw that.
answering. Yeah, and the Republicans were answering
Like
when it was founded.
1910.
Or 1917, or 19, or right after World War II. Oh, so you mean like when segregation happened,
Segregation,
or
when women
not this.
couldn't vote,
Right.
you know. It's
Right,
like,
right.
bruh. Yeah, no, I remember that specific thing. Someone was like 1910, and the first thing that the reporter like says is like he takes like a double take, and it's like, so when racism was prevalent, the Ku Klux Klan existed, and when women couldn't vote, and the dude's just like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
And then
cool.
there was also like right at the end there was like a thing where it was an Asian reporter, and he asked another guy saying why when was it? It was right 80s. I really liked the 80s, and the other guy really liked the 80s. And they like, okay, so during like again like during the still segregation, a ton of racism, and then what happened was
Pissed on Reagan's grave. Call that trickle down economics.
yeah the
That's amazing.
Sorry, I had to
That's
go on.
amazing.
the
dude.
the Republican responded with, you always have to let's just say that a few pieces of china had to be broken, and then the reporter just stared at him because he's Chinese. And then the reporter said, or the Republican said, and I didn't mean that as an insult. I did not mean that as an insult at all. And then just like went to the title menu, and I just watched Pepe dancing on a frog.
Finish that sentence.
Frog.
Okay, I want to ask for your guys' opinion on something really quick
Yeah.
to add to this conclusion. Y'all know who the Emerald City supporters are? You know, the Sounders supporter group, the biggest one anyway. They're becoming super political, as in like basically an Antifa group that happens to support the Sounders at this point.
Really?
And, they just did a purge of like pretty much all the conservatives in the group.
Sounds right.
Okay.
It wasn't like a one day. Ooh, sorry, bad knockout just happened. Like, oh yeah, he's fumbling. Ooh, stop the fight. Okay. So
Yes.
basically, it wasn't like a one day thing, but slowly over the course of quarantine, all the conservatives left the group.
Okay.
And it's like, so tell me if you agree with this sentiment. A Sounders fan who's a conservative and a Sounders fan who's a liberal meet at a game. They they hang out at the game. The Sounders win. They might like celebrate a couple goals together. After the game, they go back and have a beer, like at Merchants, or like Merchants Cafe. I don't fucking know, somewhere Temple. And they're sharing a beer, and one of them brings up politics. If they had not have met each other at that Sounders game, the political conversation would have ended with one of them walking out and saying, "I hate that guy." But because they met at a Sounders game, there's already a wall that's broken between them. They're like, "Oh wait, but this other guy's cool. He's a conservative. Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell me more." And like, that's how I became friends with like 3 of the people that I support the Sounders with. They're conservative, and I definitely would have dismissed them as dumb conservatives if I had not have met them at a game.
Yeah, it's the same thing in the music business. Like
And-
all of
and-
us, like yeah.
What's happening at Sounders games is that all of the conservative, and when I say conservative, I'm trying to like single out the moderate people that just happen to like, I don't know, think capitalism works and voted for Mitt Romney or something like that. Like, not like Nazis, just like conservative people
Yeah,
that
we're
go
not
to
talking
games.
like, alt-right and all of the
Yeah.
like super hard like far-right
Like,
conservatives.
Pander level like
Yeah.
a little less.
We're talking like, not like small town Indiana kind of thing.
And what's happening at games now is that the conservatives aren't coming, and the attendance is going to go down, or they're just going to go sit somewhere else, and ECS is going to become just a leftist group that no one wants to sit with because all they're focusing on is politics. I think that football, especially, like, because it's not as connected to the American like soul, I guess.
It's not even an American sport, yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
football.
Football especially should be an escape from all the politics, in my opinion anyway. And for that reason, that because it encourages people to mix identities. It's like, how do you think Brazil, the only time Brazil ever gets along with each other is the World fucking Cup, and that's because the teams, like the Brazilian
Brazil.
national team is playing.
Well, I think also adding on to
Otherwise,
that,
everyone
it's sort of
in
like,
that country is at throats.
yeah, I think it's because sports and, things like it that get a lot of people together are things that, like, encourage a general identity. And so it's like, you want to keep the politics as far away from it as possible. I mean, don't get me wrong. I completely understand the people bringing politics into sports, like, the canceling of the NBA games and all that stuff. Like, that makes perfect sense. And,
Yeah.
but, like, the overall idea of fundamentally, like the people watching it, like, you shouldn't be told that you can't like a sport because of blank, that kind of thing. I mean, you could still appreciate football and be a fucking jackass. I mean, you're still a football fan.
It's like,
NASCAR.
Oh
It-
my!
it just
Don't
can't-
even get me started on NASCAR, dude.
but like, yeah, this isn't me saying that I disagree with any of this thing, like the boycotts that have been going on
Yeah,
in sports and
yeah.
stuff. I totally agree with those, even though I'm upset that I didn't get to watch the Sound play on Tuesday. It's for a good cause. But I think there's some point where not playing sports and not giving people an escape and just making them mad all the time because all they have to watch is politics. Like,
I mean,
there needs to be some kind of uniter here besides the country's fucked
like,
up.
pretty much when you open up the TV now, especially, okay, and this is more speaking directly at the people who, like, have less and so don't have, like, cable or something, like the people who are watching antenna TV, like me, because we don't have streaming services and we got rid of our cable, so we literally use our antenna. When you open up the TV, all you see is a few things. You see, like, 4 or 5 channels, just straight politics, because it's the news channels, but let's be honest, except for, like, some local stuff, it's all politics at this point. Especially because we're getting closer and closer to November. And, of course, the 2 national conventions just happened. You have maybe a couple things that are actually showing just TV, just, like, shows. and stuff. There's one that has all Star Trek. That's a pretty cool channel. And then you have the sports channels. You have like 1 or 2 sports channels that show just straight up stuff. I mean, it varies, but you know, it's good to watch those. You know, you have something to, I mean, it's not like, you know, set in the background and just mindless stuff, but like you have something to watch that doesn't involve too much personal engagement. You don't have to consider everything about it. And that's not to say you shouldn't get involved in politics. You definitely should, especially at a time like this. But when you need that release, you need somewhere to turn.
Like,
I mean, even on YouTube, there are political ads before almost every video I have now. Most of them for Donald Trump
like
or
a ton of it.
Joe Biden. And it's like, fine, cool, I understand. I mean, I don't fully understand political paid advertisements, but, you know, whatever. But, like, I understand, you know, ad space needs to be filled, but I'm just trying to watch a Carson video. Fuck. This is the struggles of Zoom, boys. Hey, I'm not purchasing like the Zoom subscription so I can get unlimited time. Fuck that. Why do you have that
All right, we're back.
They're like ad breaks. They're like ad breaks.
Ad breaks when the video cuts out.
They're just for memes. It's not actual ads.
But as I was saying about political ads, it's like, you know, I understand it. I don't understand paid political ads, but like, damn, I'm just trying to watch a Carson video. I'm trying to get some laughs today.
I think of like everyone talks about, oh, if you're having a bad day, you should focus on something positive. If you're having a bad year, we should be focusing on some positive stuff too. It like stay informed, but don't like make yourself angry. It's like something bad happens in your day, and then all day you're just like, God damn, this is horrible. What? Like, and your whole day just sucks.
You gotta try to make it better. And that also extends to the actual political stuff. I mean, like, if something's going to shit, you need to make it better. Being angry is fine. Staying angry for the sake of staying angry, that's not fine. You have to work towards making it better, even if it just means getting the word out, even if it means just inspiring others to join the cause. You have to make it better.
There are a lot of people in the U.S. that are, this sucks. What am I gonna do about it?
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of
the protests are are perfectly fine at this point, because it's sort of, this is their way of getting their word out. The people who are at the protests right now are the one. What?
Hashtag anarchists.
Okay, but the ones
for the
that
sake of being angry.
That's not what anarchy. That's not how anarchism works.
Oh, shit.
But
no. Okay.
Yeah, but like the people who are at the protest, that's their way of getting the word out right now, and that's fine. But the ones who are making the change, specifically the political leaders and the ones that are voted into office, those are the ones that need to be working towards change. And like the leaders of organizations, sure, fund the protests, fund all of the stuff, like organize a lot of stuff, but like you also have to be working towards the change that you are advertising, that kind of thing. If you're the leader of a movement, you have to lead the movement.
Don't ruminate on your anger and just set your seat on fire.
I mean, especially because of the American media, we're losing a lot of steam. I mean, even the protests have gone off of the main media.
There's a certain, and this shouldn't be how it is in American politics, because, it's a bad system to go by in general, but it's we have a short attention span.
Mm-hmm. We have a short attention span, and our general media has a short attention span.
Yep.
If something is just going to keep being aired and keep being aired and keep being aired, people are going to stop paying attention.
There has to be developments. I mean, that's inherent with just news in general. You can't air the same thing over and over again. It's just not going to work.
We still have the weekly coronavirus
There's
thing.
the difference between keeping people informed and keeping people angry. That's what the media is trying to do.
Well, because also, Derek, with the COVID-19 reports, there at least are developments. There's at least some news thing to report on every week.
Yeah, but that's also the same thing with
yes, if
hurricanes
you're
as well.
angry, yes, if you're not angry, you're not informed. But you shouldn't stay angry 24/7 all the time. Find a distraction, go do something fun.
Yeah.
Watch
Because
sports.
staying angry at the people who...
What the fuck? Oh, fuck.
God, my ear.
But, staying angry at the people who inherently are fueling that anger, perfectly fine. Being angry at our government, that's just an inherent thing since 2016. But, we need to understand that we need to make a pathway towards progress. And you can't be angry 24/7 to get that pathway to progress. There has to be mutual understanding. You have to be able to... the entire point is you have to be able to convince the other side to join you. It's not just overtaking the other side, because that other side will be there. They will always be there. And if they get a majority, they will return in kind. You have to be able to convince them that they are wrong, which is a hard thing to do. It can take a while. But... it doesn't seem like a lot of people understand that.
The way that we start...
Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah. The way that we start making liberals and conservative talk, and I know, this is going to sound ridiculous, is sports. This is what I'm talking about. The only way you're going to get liberals and conservatives to mingle and talk in the same space is if they're not talking about politics. And then you can get them to respect each other and appreciate each other's values. And then you can get them to talk about politics, and then those conversations already have a barrier broken down in them.
What about that one YouTube channel that compares people Muslims and then Iranians and Palestinians? Do you remember this one during world history? What was it?
Sorta, yeah.
Yeah, there was a comparison where they talk over food, and then they some of them are extremely strong left, and then they're extremely strong right about
middle ground.
Middle ground, yeah.
When they had Israelis and Palestinians talk about all their issues and stuff, and then they shared food. Yep. Granted, I think it should be in reverse. I think they should have shared a meal and talked about their favorite foods together, and then talked about politics. But same thing.
We're
gonna have the only way we're gonna get people to, especially now because there's nothing else going on but sports and politics, and then whatever's going on in your personal life.
Yeah. Which is a lot for some people.
Sports is gonna be a big uniting factor, and if we don't, I'm not saying make sports centrist, but what I am saying,
that's not the answer either.
We should make sports trying to teach people who aren't on the left that are watching it. We should make it directed at them. We should make it directed at people on the right are just misguided.
Yeah, we need to get people to work together towards a common cause. I mean, a lot of the stuff that's been going on, a lot of the problems with things is also just we need middle ground for it, because some of it isn't based upon partisan lines. Some of this is just based upon basic human rights.
should be
fundamental societal problems in the United States. Like that's not a partisan divide. Because if you think about it, a lot of the differences between the parties fundamentally, it's economics. It's a lot of basic political beliefs. That's not societal beliefs.
My favorite quote from Kyle Kalinske: "It's not left versus right; it's populist versus elitist."
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
But like, in general, like, there's a reason that Bernie Sanders most if not all of his town halls are in Trump country. I wonder why that is.
Yeah, because he's trying to, change their minds.
Did you know that I think like something like a quarter of Bernie voters in like or people that switched to the Democratic Party and voted for Bernie were like Trump supporters previously. A quarter, or something like that. Maybe it's not a quarter, but it's a significant number of Trump supporters that switched over to Bernie. And that's
like when you think yeah. Sorry.
The reason I was talking about like me not like understanding the conservative point of view on like left media is fucked, because it is. Like the entire time during the primary, for example, what was all the rhetoric about Bernie surrounding? He yells a lot. He's a socialist. He's not a moderate, so like not a lot of. He's not going to be able to work very well with people.
Yeah, it's just the establishment saying that he doesn't match the establishment.
Bernie is the moderate. Joe Biden is the extremist. Let's get one thing clear, all right? Joe Biden is way more right-leaning than Bernie. Look at the what's that thing we did in U.S. history with Mr. Hayner? We had to like do the political compass test.
Oh,
Joe Biden, Joe Biden, I guarantee, goes way further right than Bernie.
Oh yeah, someone did an entire thing of the Democratic candidates, and it's a lot more skewed than some people would lead you to believe.
Yep, it's a serious.
But like, it's the kind of thing where you also have to look at the candidates that would have given us a lot more common ground, because Joe Biden is by far not the best candidate that we could have picked. By far. He is not the ideal candidate, but he's what we have at this point. But looking back on it, people like Bernie would have been able to reach across partisan lines with just like those common cause kinds of issues. People like Andrew Yang, he appeals to both sides because of the things that he brings with him. He is not just someone who is bringing along a lot of ideals simply just to bring them along because, he has to run for the Democratic Party, that kind of thing. He believed in what he had his own beliefs. Bernie has his own beliefs. He's been fighting fighting for them for like 50 years.
In my opinion, Bernie Sanders is the most revolutionary slash and or like best politician of our generation.
Mm-hmm. And he has a lot of supporters. It's just he doesn't have enough supporters from the hard Democrats and the hard Republicans to get anywhere. Because to a lot of people, he's still too radical. And it's like, that's fine, there is a point where someone is too radical, but
Bernie's not that point.
But he also isn't radical in the wrong way. He's trying to make positive change to the fundamental building blocks of our current nation.
The places where he's being radical is like the things that most Americans agree on. Like, Americans agree on a lot more shit than they think they do. Like, Bernie Sanders and like Joe Rogan are the closest you're gonna get to the middle of America's opinions on like free college and weed legalization and healthcare and stuff like that. Like Bernie is near the center. Joe Biden is a lot
because
further right.
Just speaking on those 3 points, free college, healthcare, and what was the third again?
Free, like, just in general on the issues of like the things that most Americans agree on: free college, healthcare, and what else would there be?
Yeah. But like for free college, the only people who would disagree with that are like the old, like, really old boomers who, like, have, like, the coined line, back in my day, it only cost this much, without considering any of the other, like, inflation stuff that's happened. Yeah. The only people who disagree on universal healthcare are either the people who have really good healthcare already through the system, or just for some reason haven't been injured and think that the cost is perfectly fine because they don't use it often. And the only people who don't believe in, like, weed legalization are people who still believe lies about weed. And it's like, okay. Oh yeah, there we go, perfect. Yeah. And it's like, a lot of the ones there are really surprisingly
Look at where
far
Biden-
right.
Look at where Biden is.
Yeah.
People.
Well, I mean,
the fuck up.
also for the local people, look where Inslee is.
Yeah.
Here, one sec. Let me highlight Derek's camera again.
Oh yeah, that's the perfect music.
Yeah. So,
Like-
looking over this one.
And it sucks because even Tulsi Gabbard now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who, like, people like Gravel and Williamson were.
Oh. Yes.
That's a lot of people that are pretty right.
Uh-huh.
Wonder why.
Mm.
Populist versus elite.
Let me see if I can go find like an Obama one. Ooh. Here's one that was from Obama.
Ah.
Hey, Ralph Nader's there.
Oh my god.
That's
Oh,
perfect.
You even remember that guy? Okay, whoever's playing the music. Okay, like, in general, my main point is that Bernie is closer to the center of the U.S. opinion
Mm-hmm.
than Biden is.
Well, it's
Bernie-
also like, I like how Biden's changed on the compass since.
Oh, Biden is, like, yeah, he's further right. Is he? Yeah, he's further right.
Much further right. And much more towards the libertarian end of things.
Look where Yang is too.
Yeah. Well, because Yang promotes a lot of, like, individualism and that kind of thing, so he's much closer to the libertarian end of stuff, and, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, expected.
Yeah, and what's funny is when a lot of people did this test, like in my history class back when I went to Shorewood with Mr. Hayner, and like a bunch of people were like, "What? I'm further left than Bernie?" They're like, "What?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that it's just like Bernie Sanders could have been the beginning of a new age, and he was just cheated out by the DNC. The DNC was like, shit, Biden's gonna lose and Bernie's gonna win. It's obvious what's gonna happen. Everyone endorse Biden, quick, go, get to your fucking station. Like, it was like
They pretty much had that kind of message when the like conventions were happening, like the original debates.
Everyone endorse Biden, let's go. Like, that was the DNC as soon as Bernie started picking up in the polls.
The DNC
And then
in general was just not good, nor was the Republican one, but like neither of the conventions this year really had much to go on. Like, they didn't bring much to the table. Like, okay, for the Democratic National Convention, you have mostly just Biden and Kamala Harris bringing on a lot of their, like, points that they've already been talking about. You know, it's not much new stuff, and all of the extras, it like the other speeches and things, it was fine, but it just felt like you've already said this.
Yeah.
And like
Here,
the
I'm gonna
Republican
read out-
National Convention is just more of the same.
I'm gonna read out my favorite tweet, like, personally right now about politics. No one wants to be vote shamed. Everyone wants policies that help people they care about. Stop demanding that people settle for Biden-Harris and start demanding that Biden-Harris help more goddamn people. Please.
Yeah.
Like, I get it that we all do technically have to settle for Biden and Gabbard. Not like it'll suck. Yes, it's gonna be like Hillary 2.0 this time with dementia. But
Yeah.
it's
Which also leads me to believe
way better.
that, to be
it's
honest,
better than Trump.
well, no, because that's the thing is that honestly, at this point, with how the press is going, with how the country's going, it's just gonna be Trump too. We're going into a second term of Trump. I mean, let's be honest here. Biden doesn't have that overwhelming support that Obama did to win.
Trump,
Obama.
The debates are going to be a slaughterhouse of Biden. Like, Trump is just going to roast the shit out of him for hours on air, and everyone's going to vote for Trump.
Mhm.
Like,
They're not going to be
because
good.
what's Biden going to say?
Yeah. Well, again, it's just he also
Biden, and I got this message.
he also so far just doesn't have the points that he needs to succeed. Like, when Obama first was brought to, like, as the primary nominee, he had a central message. I mean, he had, like, we're going to bring America together, and we're going to, like, make them hope. That kind, yeah. We're going to try and make it a better place. And, he had that central message, and that, again, it reached across a lot of party lines. That's just a general message. But, a lot of it was just, stuff that brings people together. What does Biden have? I don't even I legitimately don't remember his tagline. I know he has one, but like I don't remember it. But there's not really any major thing that he's brought to the table that's any kind of new. I mean, all of his environmental stuff that he's been talking about, Inslee already talked about during the debates. That kind of thing. It's not new stuff.
Like, Bernie had the political revolution.
Yeah.
Like that
Honestly, Bernie is a much better presidential candidate in like, well, this is obvious, but like Bernie would be able to easily like grab like a ton of things. Honestly, Bernie would just absolutely beat the shit out of Donald Trump for the presidential debate.
Bernie would have slaughtered Donald Trump everywhere.
Crazy.
Every issue in debate, it doesn't matter. He would bring up fact after fact after fact after fact.
Well,
Trump would look like an idiot. It would be hilarious. It would be great.
But like,
and it
one of the major problems I saw, because I watched all of Biden's speeches at the Democratic National Convention, and what I found about his stuff is that he had a lot of baseless claims. He brought up, when he was talking about environmental stuff, he was like, we're going to sign back onto the Paris Climate Accords. And, that's good. We're going to be back on the Paris Climate Accords. We're going to be working towards, environmental stability. But that's not the how. That's just saying you're going to do it. But, being on the Paris Climate Accords doesn't just mean the environment's suddenly better. You have to work on them. I mean, the entire point of the Climate Accords is the world working towards it. Yeah.
We're also kind of extremely like destroyed, anyways. Like, when's the world going to be irreversibly changed? 2036. Yeah.
No, according to a lot of people, it's already passed.
Oh, great.
But and like when he brought up a lot of the political things, like with all of this recent stuff, we're going to work towards change and pretty much regurgitating a lot of what Obama originally said, and it's like, but Obama had stuff to back it up. He might not have been the greatest president we've ever had, but
he bought a lot of countries.
Yeah, he did.
Definitely.
But he had stuff to back up what he was saying. He had a general idea of what his original plan was. Whether that went through is up to whether it actually passed, because a lot of people were holding his stuff back. But he kept our country in a state of general stability.
Derek, can you look up what is it? Look up "I'm Joe Biden" and I forgot this message. It's very funny.
But with Biden, he doesn't seem to have a plan, and with such a critical election like this, getting Trump out of office, you need a plan. You need something that someone can look up and say, okay, who do I support? Because the thing is that however much I like to disagree on it, Trump at least has some kind of agenda that he puts forth. Whether he follows that agenda is another story, but he has a general message for his supporters that they can pretty much just look up and see, oh, is he doing this? Kind of. So yeah, let's support him. With Biden...
Yep.
But with Biden, it's... I don't know what his plan is. At all.
Like, if like the best idea of his plan that we have is we'll go back to Obama. What's that mean?
Yeah,
like,
that doesn't mean anything.
It's gonna look different than it is now. But
well, it's also
here,
like
I'll
saying that fundamentally is like just you can't. Obama's out of office. That mind is no longer in control of the country. Those ideals are no longer in control of the country. You can't say
Yeah, and
you're going
Congress
to go
wouldn't like
back to
that either.
Obama because you're not
is
him.
that
You like
is-
okay,
is-
sure. Say you're inspired by him. You know, say you're inspired by Obama to do X, Y, and Z. That's fine. You know, however correct or incorrect that inspiration may be, who knows? But copying someone and looking at a specific era and saying we're going to do that again, no. That's not progress. That's stagnation. And I talked about stagnation before. Political stagnation isn't what this country needs. It's not what the world needs. Whether we like it or not, we're a superpower.
we learned
that
this lesson, guys. We learned this lesson in Avatar season 4. Like
yeah.
Season 4.
But like,
Kuvera took over the Earth Kingdom. We
Uh-huh.
learned that if a cartoon show can sort out the Earth
Yeah.
Kingdom better than we can sort out an entire country,
yep.
then fuck the country.
Yeah.
All right.
But like, whether we like it or not, we're a superpower that has influence over numerous nations in the world. If we do something wrong, everyone will know it, and they will be affected by it. When we put on some kind of like, embargo or, trade war, the world feels it. The world economy feels it. We're starving out Cuba because of our embargo on them. That kind of thing. We should be friendly to them.
Especially now.
We're trying to help them recover. We should be at least.
So, I guess I'm inclined to bring this up, and I think I have a good platform to bring this up on because I'm the one person that's super into MMA. But I promise this is relevant to like Donald Trump's previous job was a pro wrestling promoter, and he ran his own MMA promotion for about like 2 months. And he was also like super into MMA promotion before and after that. He still like helped out. He's like he went to UFC Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. He was at that fight. Like he's an MMA fan. He knows how to take fighter A and fighter B and tell the public and like give the public a story behind both these fighters and make the public make them want to fight. He knows how to convince the public that these guys want to fight each other. That like
Yep.
he knows how to hype the public up for a conflict of some kind.
And
That's
if we
like-
look at the recent history of the Trump administration, that's most of what he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, consider
so,
it.
like
All of the stuff with China, that's just us him hyping the conflict between the U.S. and China. Don't get me wrong, it's a massive conflict that needs solving, that kind of thing. But it's not what he's making it seem to be. We are not in open arms engagement with them.
and this is what I mean by like this is what most people mean by fascism. Like not that Trump is like when we say Trump is a fascist, we're not saying Trump is Hitler.
We're not even
But-
saying he's Mussolini. Yeah.
Fascism means that your country's identity is based around who you don't like. Like for the like as a broad statement. Obviously, that's not like if you get down to the specifics. There's like obviously it's not the full definition, but the general overview of fascism is your country's identity is based on who you're in conflict with. Trump is making our identity based on we don't like China, we don't like fake news, we don't like this. At the very least, Obama made our identity about like what we're good at. like what we are and not who we hate.
Yeah, whether he
Right?
succeeded in that is debatable. I mean, there's a lot to put up. I mean, and this is more looking in hindsight, but there's a lot to debate when it comes to the Obama administration. Did he do what he said? Did he bring to America what everyone claims that he did? And, you know, it's a healthy debate. That's a healthy debate. But, like, when it comes to Trump, there's not really much to debate.
We know who he is.
Yeah. Well, no, but like, a lot of his stuff is more polarized, and like a lot of his stuff is more in focus than a lot of the Obama stuff was. With Obama, you can debate a lot of his choices for hours if you really wanted to, because there's a lot there.
Plus, he also had 2 terms.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot there. You know, all of his decisions had a lot of variables in it. With Trump, it almost seems randomized what decision he's going to take. I mean, first he was like,
Every week.
yeah, no, but like,
He flops opinions on stuff every week.
well, like at first we were like, you know, we hate North Korea, and then he essentially becomes allies with them, and it's like, that was within a year. I mean, we were almost scared we were gonna go into war with them again, and it's like
His rhetoric at the start of his the start of his rule, his reign, was China. Like,
yeah,
his rhetoric about North Korea was very aggressive. And now his rhetoric with North Korea is like, we're allies. And
well,
we're friends.
also
And
just remember
he
like
tried-
Iran at the beginning of this year.
Because he's so good at MMA promotion and like WWE promotion.
Hyping up conflicts and their
What
opponents.
what he made it look like was, we were in conflict with North Korea. I had a change of heart, and I think we should start loving people more. So let's start by mending our relationship with North Korea.
Even though,
We
to
all
be
know-
completely honest, nothing happened. Like if we really, look at the North Korea stuff from, I think, what was that 2 years ago, last year ish.
Show me where
Um,
North Korea has improved since we became allies with them.
Yeah, no, but the only things that happened was we talked, we didn't like them, they
Signed a
took out
peace
they took out their we signed a peace agreement, and they like took out their nuclear program, even though we all know that they just accidentally collapsed in their mountain. And then we didn't like them again, and so they rebuilt their nuclear arms, and so pretty much nothing's changed. Like, we're back to square one.
Isn't it?
Nothing's happened. That peace agreement is essentially null.
Yeah, it's null. Like,
We are no closer to a healthier North Korea or relations with them.
and people always bring up, like, when I'm going back to Bernie here, just because I'm a Berniac, but like,
Yeah, you're good.
the main criticism people had of Bernie when they said that they were skeptical of him was like, okay, he's good at domestic issues, but like, the president is the most powerful person on earth, and he needs to like interact with other countries. Like, I don't think Bernie's a very good domestic politician. And I'm like, you idiots! He's part of the Senate. Have you seen his proposal for the, like, have you seen his, like, him going off on the Iraq war in the Senate
Yeah,
for like hours? Yeah. He knows how to handle foreign affairs. He's part of the Senate for a reason. It's just that he can't be the leader.
Senator Bernie Sanders.
Senator means you deal with a lot of shit. It's not just domestic issues.
Yeah.
The Senate
He's got
is,
experience.
he's not only experienced, but he's been consistently a very good human being.
Can you imagine if
For
he was
as
our
long as
representative to the United Nations?
I'd like that.
Representative to the United Nations. There's a picture of him being arrested in a civil rights protest in the 60s. Like, he's the most consistent. Yeah, there we go. There's a good picture. Like, and he actually cares about the community. Like, you can find countless videos of him on the campaign trail doing interviews with like random people. Have you seen his one where he goes into a black barber and like the barber is like trying to like calling him his nigga? Like, have you? It's so funny. Like he goes into this random small business black barber and he's like, hey, let me get a haircut. Like,
As if he has hair. Just kidding.
well, no, they actually, what they did was like, I think they just gave him like a, like, you know, the, Derek, pull up that image you had of Bernie Sanders, the one before. Yeah, that one.
Wait,
like,
hold
I
up.
think
Hold on, let me spotlight it.
Yeah, I think what they did was, do you see the hair under his glasses?
Yeah.
They made that like a fade.
Yo, what is with? Why is that thing like half-assed? Why is it green?
I don't know.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. The hair under his glasses, like everything under his glasses became like a
Dude,
fade, and it was.
I want to see undercut Bernie.
Okay, keep talking. I have to go use the bathroom really quick. But
Okay. I'm just gonna cut this bit out because I have nothing to talk about.
We're gonna cut. Yeah, neither do I. I'm just looking for memes.
Sounds about
Undercut Bernie.
right. Undercut Bernie,
I'm trying to-
dude. Undercut.
I'm trying
Bernie.
to search for an undercut Bernie. Short haircut Bernie. Sanders. Perfect. Okay, I've got it. That'll work.
That's
That'll work.
amazing.
That'll work. That's gonna work perfectly. Oh, this is it. This is the. Oh, I think I know what Jackson was talking about. Here it is. Look at this. We're not gonna put this entire bit in until he gets back, but that's what he's. Oh.
It's half-assed and green again.
Oh, it's green. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Right. Okay. So is this what? Yeah, this is what you were talking about, Jackson.
yeah, no, what?
No, not it.
That's not. I swear to God, that's not Bernie.
That's not Bernie. Okay, it's not
Is
Bernie.
that?
That's
No,
I don't
that-
know.
not Bernie.
That's
This
not
is Bernie.
I mean, that's an image of Bernie Sanders. Yes.
That's Bernie.
He looks like Einstein.
He does.
He is Einstein.
Oh wait,
Anyway,
I need to get back in
so
frame.
we were just
Wait, I
talking-
need to get back
so
in frame.
We were just talking about how people need to have an escape. Occasionally, we have been talking politics this whole time. So what's some good shit that's been happening? Let's talk about some wholesome stuff. Some
I have
good
two
stuff
new
that's-
YouTube videos on my YouTube channel, Cap Tanuki, which aren't actually new. They're from like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't done a third. But go watch them.
He's also got a pretty cool video regarding music, but we don't talk about that.
No, stop. No.
We're officially diverting from politics and for the most part,
Jax
coronavirus
has
talk.
fanfic to plug.
Just remember,
I have Photoshop to plug.
Stay informed. If you're not angry, you're not informed, but don't ruminate on your anger. It's not enough to be not racist. You got to be anti-racist. Gay people are okay. And
All lives
trans
can't
people-
matter until Black Lives Matter.
There we go. So, deviating from that, Alex, you're starting a new project, right? You're starting a new fanfic.
Oh yeah, I got a Star Trek thing coming up. You know, it's only on like halfway through chapter 1, but you know, it'll be up sometime this year, probably, maybe, if I decide to actually finish chapter 1. I haven't updated my Star Wars fic since August of 2019. So that's probably never going to continue.
Yeah, I haven't updated my... Here, let me check. I haven't updated my Steven Universe fic that people were actually following.
That's been a while.
Since the 14th of August, 2019.
Fucking nice one.
So, but that's because I had 2 other works that I ended up working on.
Yeah. I got Wellesley. That's about it. This is thick boy. That's a.
I have
that's it for
photos.
me.
Do I have anything that I can share? No, not really. Okay.
Well, I am actually gonna Alex, I told you you should I know you said you wanted to like record that little promo I sent you for my fanfic, but I think you might as well just read it now because we need
Oh,
content.
yeah, let me pull up my DMs.
I would read it myself, but Alex has a legendary announcing voice, so just for the record.
This is for Jax's Legend of Korra. Legend of Korra fanfic.
No, God, please, no, no.
Okay, but Korra is a top UFC fighter who was left in a wheelchair with a goodbye letter from Asami 9 years ago. Asami is a top UFC fighter whose father told her Korra never wanted to see her again 9 years ago. A coming-of-age story, 1 decade too late. Subscribe to Earthjax on www.archiveofourown.org.
Anyway, I'm on the road, so basically, if you don't know this, on AO3, once your fic has like 10,000 hits, people immediately want to know why, so they click on it, or they at least read the description. It's kind of like
you're
if
a
a
smut
YouTube
fic with too many tags.
kind of like there's a YouTube video with a million
Get
views,
stick bugged.
title if you see a million views on a YouTube video. Anyway, so I'm on 9.4k hits. I really want 10,000 so that people start noticing my work. I'm like, right now, I think I'm the 57th most most clicked Korasami fic on AO3. If that number could,
Which is saying something, considering how long it's been since Legend of Korra came out.
But
It's
why?
well, because it came out on Netflix the other week, like it's been super active again. So I think that probably contributes to it right now, why I'm getting this surge in hits. But you know, it's cool. And plus the fact that the UFC is one of the only active, like really good active sports right now.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Derek, turn on your camera. Jax, turn on your camera.
Zoom isn't working.
Well, no, Zoom is perfectly fine, but I don't want to have to do another meeting.
Yeah. But is my thing reversed on your
It's still
screen?
fine.
Okay.
Derek, why do you have so many... I don't like that.
Am I letting these images throughout the course of this whole podcast?
Yes, he has. Oh!
What the hell was that? What was that?
I'm
Fuck
so
off!
sorry. But anyway, so yeah, like my fanfic, I want to get 10k hits because that would be really cool and neat and sick. What else? The Sounders beat Portland 3-0. We have a game hopefully happening on Sunday or tomorrow, August 30th. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna like say hi to the players outside the stadium as they're taking the bus in. Socially distant, all that stuff. But I want to support my boys somehow because they're in town finally. Like they're actually playing in Seattle instead of Orlando. What else? What's some good shit that's been happening in your guys?
Not necessarily good shit, but just something to talk about. So, nation states, that's a name you haven't heard in a while. The remnant of Alkmaar got raided by a militia group, and they put up advertisements for their shit, and I was like, well, fuck off. And so we got them out, and we're redoing Alkmaar. We're not redoing Alkmaar, but we're revitalizing it. So we have people actually on now. So if you want to join it, go to the links channel on the GFY Podcast, click on the Remnant of Alkmaar link, and then to join you have to type in the password, which should pop up quickly. But we have lore we're coming out with a new issue of the Alkmaar Tribune, and Jax, you need to restart your nation. And you also need to keep on with the lore document that we made last year that you haven't updated since. But yeah, so that's
Nation
States.
has been the last thing on my mind.
What?
Sorry, Derek's air horn got in the way. Nation states has been like the last thing on my mind. With all the shit in the news, it's just
Yeah.
not the first thing on my mind, at least.
But like even Derek's restarted his nation. I didn't like think that seeing the Federal Republic of UMOG would have been something I would have been happy about.
God.
Happy Feet, Wombo Combo. That's not Falco. That's not Falco. Whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's really wholesome energy, knowing how old that clip is.
It's so old in comparison to like a lot of us.
Still my favorite MLG soundboard thing is real trap shit.
Oh, I've got
Real trap shit.
Son, where'd you find
Real trap
this?
shit.
same
Real
thing.
trap shit.
Yeah.
Nope.
We talk about how McDonald's.
I really want to edit in like a fake MLG like piece of shit thing right here.
What the hell? Why is Illuminati lasting so long?
Why is
China.
China?
End it.
Yeah, no.
Talk about how
Oh, okay, never mind.
we talk about McDonald's ads make the burgers look 10 times more appetizing than they look in real
Oh
life.
yeah, all the time.
That's
Same
like
goes with, like,
every
any
fast
fast
food
food
advertisement. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like fast food artists, like they'll use like they'll use.
But with McDonald's,
Glue for cheese.
it's like especially egregious. Like it looks so great on the UFC ads right now, which is really fun. It's really ironic that they're playing McDonald's ads on pro fighters fighting each other, like in shape people, and then cut to McDonald's ad. But you know,
Yeah,
America, right?
I think there is like people wanted like a wetness for something, and like what they did is that instead of
What?
like they wanted like something to be like
Right.
shiny or something. So what they used was like
Moist.
they just poured a bunch of oil all over it and then like smoothed it out
Oh,
just for like I think it was
Yeah.
for like a Coca-Cola bottle or something, or they would be using like butter or yogurt, or I don't think it's yogurt per se, or like for ice cream.
You know, I just realized something.
Huh?
I need to eat lunch.
have you not eaten lunch yet?
No, I woke up at. But I woke up at 2:20. I ate like a thing of cheesecake. It's lunchtime,
Yeah,
boys.
you texted me.
It's lunchtime.
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 Lunchtime.